G'day guys, welcome back to Oceania. Okay, I guess that does highlight the fact that it has been a little while since I've been working in Oceania. I was honestly a little bit nervous that we weren't going to get the save game working. It's been a little bit broken since the Plazas and Promenades DLC. I haven't been able to get into the save game, but things are working again. I've been playing around with some mods and the save game is up and running. And I've just wrapped up a live stream and we were working back at Matilda Point because there's a little bit of work I want to go and do in this episode. But let's just appreciate Dundee and all of its surroundings because it's looking pretty nice down here. You know, it's nice when you haven't been in a save game for a while and then you load it up and you go, yeah, okay, I can see the progress. But it's not all super nice because there are some areas that do need a little bit of work. So let's head back over to Matilda Point. So this is Matilda Point. This is an area of the map that I have built relatively quickly just to get an idea of the sort of city planning I want to do over this side, but then also putting a bit of pressure onto our pre-existing infrastructure just to see what sort of improvements we can make. Turns out we can make quite a lot of improvements because we have pretty much next to nothing down here. As you can see, we've got a bit of a ferry service and we've got one lonely bus route, but that is about it. And as you can see, there are a lot of people driving, a lot of people work down at Matilda Point, and a lot of people live in these sprawling suburbs, which are only going to increase in population. We did do a little bit of work in the live stream. We actually worked on this ferry service down here. This pontoon was insanely busy, and it still is pretty busy for a ferry service, but we did place this bus network because there's a bus struggling to get up that hill. So these guys are benefiting from it, but in terms of everyone else, not so much so. So we can make some improvements. Can you see where we can make some improvements? Yeah, we've got this train line. I reckon we build a train station in today's episode because I had planned this, but look at this perfect spot for some sort of train station. Matilda Point is inspired by the city of North Sydney in Sydney. This is an area that I'm taking inspiration from, but also trying to do something a little bit different. As you can see, we've got the highway, the high rises are in a similar spot, and the train station is also going to be incredibly similar. This is a train station that is underground, but there is this plaza too, this area that you can walk around and access from, you know, multiple different areas, which I think is going to work really well in Matilda Point. Okay, so this is what I have in mind. I know you're building right now, but I'm going to demolish you for something way cooler. Well, at least I hope it's going to be cooler. So this is an asset by King Leno, and it's one of those assets that I've just seen for ages. And I've been like, I really want to use this, but I've never placed it down. Now I'm going to place it, let's connect it like that. And see what's going on down here. Wouldn't it be cool to incorporate this plaza as some sort of walkable plaza train station hub? Now that sounds very cool, doesn't it? But it's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be really tricky because I kind of wouldn't mind seeing the train line through here. Wouldn't that be cool? There's a nice little gap there. I don't know if that's possible. So in theory, this would be really cool, but I also don't really know how I'm gonna pull it off. But we might even be able to splice in some extra buildings into this plaza. You know, maybe make something so that we have some high rises up top and then down below we have some shopping and some office blocks. I guess we'll see how we go. But I do really think that we need some sort of bus terminal down here. So maybe even some sort of compact bus station with the, again, perfect fit. So I think what we'll do is we'll place our train station and then we'll place the buildings on top of it, covering up the entire platform. And then that way I'll give the impression that the train station is in fact underground or within these buildings, but then it will go into this underground section for like the tiniest slither. Okay, so let's just try a couple of these out. I sort of feel like I would love a station like this because it looks super pretty, but I don't know if this is going to have the right amount of capacity. I sort of feel like we're going to need some sort of bypass line, but if I was to sink it into maybe even just, like, can it poke through a little bit? Okay, I don't think that's going to work. It's just going to be too high up, so that's probably not going to work. So this one actually comes with a road, which might be a problem, or it might be a good idea. Or we might even be able to convert that into a pedestrian path. Alright, I feel like I've just totally messed up this asset, but let's just see if this fits. Something that is not working though, unfortunately, is we do have these big concrete footers with the building, because obviously probably not really meant to have a train line, a train station going underneath it. So I do have a fix for this. I'm gonna select it with move it, and I'm going to turn this into a procedural object. And what that's going to do is, oh, that ruins everything. I'm gonna press undo. Come back. I don't know if this is gonna work. This is so disappointing. So what I was trying to do is, by turning this into a procedural object, it meant that I could change the shape of this building by removing the pillars. Then we could actually allow for some space for this train station to sit underneath it. But some of these buildings work well with procedural objects, some of them don't. That one removed all the buildings, so it's not gonna work. So I'm actually, I don't even know where to go now. What do I do? That is not going to work. But you see where I'm getting at. There's something there. I want to create some sort of plaza that is all part of this whole section. What about if I make my own station completely from scratch? So I've typed in station into find it, and I'm searching in the train section, and I do have a bunch of platforms. I mean, these are networks, and they are basically the networks that are within those train stations that I am able to place down. But what about if I was to drag out a simple line like that, and then I've got the single-sided, and this is a two-way station. I'm gonna drag out another one, and then we'll line up all the nodes. And in fact, let's align up the nodes to that one. I still don't know if this is gonna work. How about we test if this does work by connecting it up to this one here, and then we can actually drag out the simplest train line, and we'll see if all this is going to work. Let's connect them up to Central Station. Alright, so that was promising. No one can get there though, so let's actually drag a path out there. There we go, nice and safe. 2 trains running on it as we give it a bit of a test run. People are floating across our station. No one's waiting there at the moment. Okay, all good. Okay, we got one guy standing there. He might be on a platform. He might just be standing there. Please, come on guys, use this platform. Interesting, so one person is using this. Is that, so it's working? Or is it not working? What? I don't really know what's going on. There's one person. What about if we give them no other options? I'm going to get rid of this bus stop, which is gonna be a little bit controversial. I know guys, yikes. Oh, you wanna go use the other bus stop? Guys, there's a station up there, use that. Don't tell me you wanna use the ferry instead. Now where are you gonna go? Go on, where are you gonna go? Alright, so everyone wants to use the ferry. Fair enough. Maybe it's just not connected properly then. I'm just trying to figure it out. You guys just don't know what you're missing out on. It's gonna be magical. Guys, I did it. People are here. People are arriving. They want it. They want this train station. I knew it. I had to make this elevated for some reason. I'm not questioning it. It's just the way it is. So people are arriving. There's one train operations at the moment. One platform. It's we need to connect these other guys up. Looks like a bit of a shorty platform too. So let's extend it like that. So make it nice and long, and I might even extend that too. Now that we know that all this works, I'm going to shift all this a little bit closer to that road, because I feel like we need more space on that side. So I'm going to just shift it over like that. I'm going to remove the high school for now. I know people aren't going to be that happy about that. And all this is going to be underground, so we're going to hide all that. But I'm going to worry about that a little bit later. That is such a good fit. I can already tell this place is going to be such a bustling area. And what I'd like to do is create a path that goes directly down to our 2 platforms. And it would be cool if people use it. So I'm going to delete this one, and hopefully people will use these ones. Okay, cool. They are. Select that. Connect. If I drop this, how much is it going to mess things up? It's probably really going to mess things up. Let's just do it anyway and see what happens. Okay, it's pretty steep around here, but I think it's going to be worth it. Ooh, it's going to be a little tight. Alright, what do you think? It's kind of crazy, but also pretty sweet, because basically people can transfer super easily through this this compact bus terminal, and then it's just a short walk down to our ferry terminal as well. So this could work. It's going to be all part of this whole complex where there's going to be shops on top and some residential apartments, and then this whole transport system as well. We've got some insanely steep roads here, so I can just make them a little bit better. I mean, they're not going to be perfect. I don't really mind it either, because I sort of feel like there are some pretty steep roads in Dundee, and that's just another one. That's a very steep house though. Let's just... Oop, that didn't work. I also really like that this is a pedestrian pathway, so that means that people are only going to, well, only people and service vehicles are going to be using this. So because we've got it like that, it means that we can also drag up a couple more pathways to our stations, and I even think this might be a good opportunity to create some pathways to our plaza that's going to sit on top. Once again, working like an absolute charm. Things are really working out. I had to put the pathways on this side so we don't block our bus terminal down there. So pedestrians kind of have more access around here. And I sort of just want to test it out now. So let's drag out the simplest of bus networks. And we'll drag a couple just to really test out the capacity of this thing. And when I say simple, I mean I'm going to go there. One stop in Dundee. And then we go central and back the way you came. And let's just do one more. Let's actually make this one a little bit more legit. Let's take this bridge. We've got nothing going along this bridge. And we do have a bus network already through here. You can stop at this station. And far out, look at the amount of public transport out here. But I think this will be a good spot to terminate and do a full loop back. First bus has arrived. There's tons of people down here. I believe, yeah, it's already at full capacity. So we're gonna have to increase the amount of vehicles probably going to these bus stops. We of course have lots of people driving because this is our connection to our bridge. So yeah, you know, we're gonna get a lot of people driving through this area, and because we have so many people now using this transport. So pedestrian pathway over the top, of course. What about though? Because we've already got this whole connection here. Delete that. Delete that. Connect. So it's already up there. We don't really need to make another one. Don't need heaps of clearance because they're only people. So they don't really need huge amounts of clearance underneath that rail. And once again, I'm doing it all with this pedestrian pathway. And I'm going to change it. Trust me. I'm gonna turn off snapping. There's too many nodes around here and it's just becoming a bit of a headache. So no more snapping, and we can just do something pretty simple like that. And then that doesn't even really need to drop down because it's already such a steep slope. Then we drag it closer to the intersection. How's the clearance for vehicles? Always like to test it on a truck. But why are people still using that crossing? It's becoming so busy down there. Higher capacity vehicles would actually work a lot better. But with pedestrians now got a way to get across, we've got trains, we've got buses, we've got a pretty nice walk all the way down to our ferry service. This area, I think, is best set up now for all the people that live around here and all the people who are working here and also the people who are shopping, which, again, we're going to have a big shopping plaza up here. Hopefully you guys can see the potential in this area. There is still so much more to do, but I think it's all going to come together in the next episode. When we start putting in those details, we add in that shopping plaza, condos up top, and probably even a little bit more access for people to get to here, because it's only going to get busier, a little bit more hectic. I wanted to finish off this episode just making these pathways a little bit more detailed, putting in these pedestrian walkways, which are these props, making these paths invisible, and adding in these staircases, which I just think adds so much. And speaking of adding in those details, I mean, this is the section of train track that I am always looking forward to working on. Sometimes a little bit fiddly, especially with the different surfaces, but adding in this retaining wall just adds to that continuity, because we do have the same retaining wall on the other side of the Anzac Bridge. As always, thank you guys so much for watching today's episode, and a huge shout outs to the people who support the channel on Patreon. PPG Live, Nikita Nagorski to Symbol, Wang Peter, WT Tiger TW, Green Reen, Stephen Volts, Jack Wren, Luke Whiffen, Zach Thibault, and Michael Ferry. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.